really and truly, strength training does, in a sense, incorporate and equal brain training, because that's where it starts. It starts with the ability to understand what you're trying to engage, what movement you're trying to execute, having that thought, sending it from the central nervous system through the spinal cord, out into the peripheral nervous system, and then literally to the axons and dendrites that then innervate the particular muscle tissue that you're trying to move.
Welcome back to the MS Workouts channel. I'm Jeff Gotte, and in today's video, I'm going to discuss what neuroplasticity is and why it not only has such a close relationship to strength training, but why that's relevant for you. Now, before I go down a rabbit hole and give away too much information for you here, just wanted to give you a little bit of context of this presentation that's coming up. This presentation was hosted live last week with the members of our Steady Pace Club. But I think that you're going to get a lot out of it, so we decided to post it here on our channel as well. And speaking of the Steady Pace Club, I'd like you to take some time and consider joining the club so that we can help you reduce your symptoms using the Steady Pace technique. As a member of the club, you're going to be given weekly workouts to complete that you then customize to combat your unique symptom. We'll send you invitations to live workout classes every single week so you can get real-time feedback from a trainer about your form and cadence. Our recent member review on Google was from Mary, and she said this: I have developed daily routines around the MS Workouts schedule. It has given me purpose and the feeling that I am investing in managing my MS. Thank you, MS Workouts team. So, just go to www.msworkouts.com to learn more about the Steady Pace Club.
Neuroplasticity is without a doubt a popular term in the multiple sclerosis community for a very good reason, right? And in reality, neuroplasticity is applied really to everyone. Today we wanted to specifically respond to a couple questions that we had regarding how our approach in MS workouts affects or doesn't affect neuroplasticity specifically. So a brief history of neuroplasticity itself, right, is really and truly something pre-1920s that was believed to be that the brain stopped developing really after the first few years of life. So neuroplasticity was thought to only happen in the first few years of life and then kind of stop after that. As such, it was considered that only young brains were really, quote, plastic per se, and thus able to, be able to form new connections. About 1948 or so, neuroplasticity was first used by a Polish neuroscientist named Jerzy Konorski. I'll probably butcher that, but so really started becoming a part of research actively around, the 1948 or so. 1980s and onward, neuroplasticity has become a prominent subject and focus for adulthood rehabilitation when it comes to strokes or any type of major neuromuscular affected event for individuals. Neuroplasticity is simply, for those of you that aren't familiar with the term, the ability of the nervous system to form and reorganize synaptic connections, especially in response to learning experience, and or following injury. Okay, so basically it refers to the lifelong ability and capacity of the brain to literally change and rewire itself in response to stimulation of literally like learning and or an experience. So it's more of an umbrella term, I think, than a lot of people realize. Neuroplasticity is constantly happening when we are, watching a movie, we are, executing a new activity, going through different experiences in life. So I think it's important to kind of understand the umbrella term of neuroplasticity and realize that there are sometimes that individuals will use the word neuroplasticity, but then start talking about something much more specific without drawing a direct connection to that umbrella. So I think Mr. Lerner's kind of jumping around here a little bit. Exercise intensity and neuroplasticity is something that is relevant to our community. And the reason why it is relative to our community is because it positively affects it. So traditionally in weight training, most individuals think about exercise as a process that physically affects the muscle tissue, right? So people think about the physical changes that take place when you are exercising, or specifically resistance training. But in reality, in order for those physical changes to take place, there is a really and truly half of the process is a neurological process. And a lot of times people miss that. So, really and truly strength training does, in a sense, incorporate an equal brain training, because that's where it starts. It starts with the ability to understand what you're trying to engage, what movement you're trying to execute, having that thought, sending it from the central nervous system through the spinal cord, out into the peripheral nervous system, and then literally to the axons and dendrites that then innervate the particular muscle tissue that you're trying to move, which then allows you to execute any type of movement through contracting and relaxing of the muscle tissue. So there's a much greater chain there that is affected whenever you're exercising than most people think of when they think of just weight training. So why are we talking about exercise intensity and neuroplasticity? Well, in weightlifting or strength training, the contractile force developed by muscle tissue is well beyond the normal everyday life, and therefore part of that brain's adaptation when you focus on increasing the intensity, okay? That's where the magic starts to happen. That's why a lot of times you will hear myself in particular be very deliberate about separating exercise and movement, right? I know a lot of times individuals probably get annoyed with my particularity, which is not even really a word, but my particularness about my words and how I sometimes people go, well, I was exercising, and especially in the comfort of a close relationship, I will very quickly, offer my suggestion that actually that's the movement. That's not necessarily exercise. Now, you could change that movement into exercise by increasing your intensity and making it challenging. But in reality, just moving doesn't justify exercise. And the reason why that concept is super important is because, really and truly, in simple terms, in order to see and facilitate those neural adaptations and that neuroplasticity, there has to be an intensity component. You have to stress that system. You have to send a signal clear enough to force not only the muscle tissue, but that neurological connection to adapt. There's an article that we came across in kind of looking through and researching and gathering the information around this. We know this information, but it's much more powerful when we are able to give you supporting sources on top of the information we're giving you, right? This isn't just us saying this. This is research, and this is information that has been developed, over decades and decades and decades of very smart individuals, much smarter than me, taking thousands of hours to research things in university settings and clinical settings, and you name it. So this article that we pulled this from, Mr. Lerner pulled the source at the bottom. But basically, it was the science and methodology of high performance, and talked about strength training, and really kind of contextually said that the lifting of maximal or neuromaximal weights, or AKA high intensity, is fundamentally necessary to stimulate the required neural adaptation and or plastic nature of the neurological system. And it's super important to make sure that that's a part of your exercise process. And if you don't mind, hold it right here, Mr. Lerner, don't go any further for me, please. I think one of the most important things to take away from intensity in neuroplasticity, or intensity in results, is that when you exercise, whether you're a highly trained individual or a beginner, you're going to see what's called neural adaptations. If the intensity is not extremely high for a beginner, the first 6 to 8 weeks in any textbook you'll read, the process of people seeing results is what's called neural adaptation. You start to see those axons and dendrites turned on and recruited into that muscle tissue at a greater level. So that's why you will see results very quickly for an untrained individual, because you're literally recruiting the entirety of that tissue at a greater level. That is neural adaptation, right? Now, as you start to become more trained, right, or you start to, in layman's term, wake that tissue up from a neural standpoint, intensity becomes essential in the process if you're looking to continue to stimulate any greater adaptation. And really and truly, when we were talking about this internally as a team, I wanted to make sure we thought about this and why that question of neuroplasticity was coming up in our community. And the thing that I kept leaning back into is that the reason why most individuals, I would believe, and I'd like to just kind of see a show of hands, why is neuroplasticity even important to the community? And my thought kept going towards, well, because what we assume is that neuroplasticity is directly connected to function, right? So how many of you connect neuroplasticity or gaining greater neuroplasticity to and equate that to greater physical functioning? Is there okay, so that's just about everybody. Is there anyone here who looks at the value in neuroplasticity for another reason other than physical capabilities? Perfect, we got one. So Lorena, if you don't mind, unmute your mic and share.
Our YouTube channel is a great place to start gaining strength, but if you want to get serious about reducing your symptoms and getting results, then you need to be on a weekly structured strength training program with other individuals just like you. And that's exactly what we offer at MS Workouts through our membership. Click the link in the video or below the video to learn how our membership can help you achieve your goals. And while you're on the website, make sure you sign up for the no-cost 7-day strength camp so you can experience how we can help you do the things that you love to do with more confidence. See you all next week.